Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. So in today's video we are going to be talking about our tricon strategy, or the analysis on our strategy. So I'm going to be taking you through a step-by-step guide on how to analyze the market using our strategy. So stick around, watch till the end, so that you can be able to learn a thing or two from this strategy. So you guys have to subscribe to the channel, and also don't forget to click the link in the description or my bio, the Telegram link there, then join our Telegram group. Soon we are going to be starting having free lessons on our strategy, so don't forget, such that you can be part of that. So let's go straight to the point that has brought us today here. This video is not going to be so long. I'm going to do other things, that's why I wanted to do it quickly and then I proceed. So this is GBP/NZD, and this is the 2-hour time frame. So what do you want to do? The first thing you want to do, I always tell you, when you go to an open chart, or let me just clean this chart such that we can have a clean open chart. So when you go to an open chart like this, you have opened up your trading view. The first thing you want to do when you see a chart like this, look at the time frames. You are at a 2-hour time frame. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to your highest time frame. Go to the highest time frame that you can afford. Me, I always go to the monthly or weekly as my highest time frame when I have just opened the chart the first time. But you can go to any higher time frame you want, maybe 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, whichever you consider as your highest time frame, even the daily. But me, it is always weekly, monthly, or daily. But now I only go to the monthly if the month is just beginning or ending, to look at the previous month's candle, how it ended, whether it was bullish, bearish, or it was big engulfing candle, it was an incision candle, whatever it is. But if the month is in the middle, I always consider the weekly as my highest time frame. So today is 26th. I would want to consider the weekly as my highest time frame. So the first thing you want to do is go to your highest time frame, which is the weekly. So I go to the weekly. So when you go to the weekly or your highest time frame, what do you see? Immediately you see the weekly, you will know that the price has been making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, meaning the price was in an uptrend. If you don't know how to identify the trend, the market structure using the trend, you can use the trend line. When you go to your chart, go to your highest time frame and then draw the trend line like this. So if you're able to draw your trend line like that, it is going to show you that the price is not only in an uptrend but a super hyper uptrend, because you see we only have 1, 2 touches. The third touch barely touched it, and then from then it has been hyper to the upside. So you have identified that the market is trending to the upside. The second thing you want to do is you want to look at where price action is currently, and then draw your structures or your support and resistances. So what I'm going to do first is identify where price action is, which is here. So I'm going to draw my support and resistance on around that area. Where do you draw your support and resistance on? The previous highs and lows of the market. So we have a high here, we have a high here, and then we have a low here, we have another high here. So I'm going to draw my support around this area. And if you don't know how to do support and resistance, look at my previous videos, the first videos on this channel. I teach you about how to draw support and resistances very well. So we have resistance here, it was broken out, retested, and price went up. So price is coming back to this level. So we have also another resistance up. Hope you can see it. This one here, this is the previous point where price turned around, so it is our resistance. So price is coming down to this level on the weekly. So what now do you want to do? After marking out your structures, these structures are going to help you determine where price will go next. So as of now, you know that price is coming to retest this area. So if it retests it, where is it going next? It is likely, since we are in an uptrend, we are likely to start going back up here. the distance between here and here has how many pips? Let's measure the pips there. So the distance between here and here has 400 pips, which is a good number of pips, 400 pips. Remember, this is the weekly time frame, so the pip count is high. So we know that the price is bullish on the weekly, and we know that we have retested, we have broken out of the previous resistance, which respected one twice. So we broke it out, retested on it, and then went to make another higher high, which we have also rejected successfully, and we are turning down to come back down. So what do you want to see in the first place? The first thing you would want to see is we are in an uptrend. We are buying we are in an uptrend, so we are looking for buys. 2, where is the current price action? It is at the previous demand zone, which is rally, base, rally. And I talk about these setups in my supply and demand in my Tricon strategy book about how to enter using supply and demand. So this is a rally, a base, a rally. So price has come to react from this zone. However, at this zone also we are having previous resistance that has turned into support. So you're likely to start buying than to continue selling. Why? Because there is a demand zone, there is also support zone on the weekly. So we are approaching this level on the weekly. So the weekly has given you a narrative of you're likely to buy than to sell. Then you go to the daily. So the daily is when you want to refine these zones very well and put the actual resistances where they're supposed to be and the supports where they're supposed to be. So the resistance is here. The resistance is here. This is the recent resistance that was broken out and then was used as support, and then price shot to the upside. So now price has come back to this level. What would we be expecting? We expect to start buying to the upside. That is our first expectation. However, price can also decide to go through this area and come below here. It is a possibility. We cannot rule it out. However, we follow what our strategy is telling us. The likely scenario here is for buys than to sells for me, at least according to my strategy. So how do I take then advantage of the buys? How do I enter the market with the buys? Do I just buy because we are likely to start buying? No. One, what do I want to see? I want to see an indecision candle at this level, and then I'll go to the lower time frames to start looking for demand zones to buy to the upside, or an inverted head and shoulder at this level. You get the point. I want to see an indecision candle here, and then I can start looking for demand and supply levels on the lower time frames, like 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour for buys to the upside, or an inverted head and shoulder, and then I'll enter right away. Remember, a head and shoulder, or inverted head and shoulder, those are reversal patterns. So what has happened here is price has tapped this zone. This is the daily support. Now price has given us an indecision candle. This is an indecision candle at this level, showing us that this sell momentum that you see is losing pressure. Chances are high we might turn around, and I told you an indecision candle, if I get it on the weekly, daily, monthly at a support zone or resistance zone, for me that is 70% chances that we are turning around. So we have gotten this indecision candle here. This was a Friday candle. So what we want to do is on Monday we are going to drop down to the 4 hour, which is this one here. And what do we want to see? And by the way, when you look at the 4 hour very well, there is a demand zone here. This is a drop, base, rally. How many indecision candles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 indecision candles, 1 bullish engulfing candle. Very big engulfing candle, which shows that there is a lot of buying momentum at this area. And also it happens to be the right shoulder of this head, inverted head and shoulder. This is a shoulder, this is a head, this is another shoulder. So it is the right shoulder of this inverted head and shoulder. So price has tapped in, rejected. So what I want to see is, I'm not going to be buying on this demand. However, I expect that since it is a good demand, price will buy. What I want to see is, I want to see price tap in, sit there comfortably, then start making structures going to the upside. Those structures will also probably make an inverted head and shoulder here, and then I'll be looking for buys to the upside up to here. Or if I do not get a head and shoulder, it is okay. I'll wait for a break of this previous structure here and then create a higher high. So on the higher low, I'll be looking for demand zones to push price up to this level. Simple, clear, and straight to the point. If I get that, then I'll be interested in this market. If I do not see that, starting from Monday, if I do not see inverted head and shoulder here, or price creating higher highs, higher lows on the 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, I'm not going to be interested in entering, because if it is not doing any of those, then that means price is going to break through and come down. If you do not see any higher highs, higher lows, or an inverted head and shoulder here as your confirmation, then you know price is going to continue to the downside. So you wait for it to break here on the retest, and then we start selling to the downside. For now, we are just patiently waiting for either an inverted head and shoulder to happen, or change of character and then break of structures. Then we start buying demand zones up to here. That is when you know the trend has ended and now we are changing to a bullish trend. I hope we are together up to that point. So that being said, I'm just going to take you through the process that happened here. This is an inverted head, this is a normal head and shoulder. So I'm going to take you through this process and you see what happened here. So let's say you have opened your chart and this is the 4 hour. The first thing you want to do is go to your highest time frame, which is the weekly. So when you went to the weekly, what did you see? This is what you saw. You saw that price was around this area here. So what I'm going to do, I'll just mark this candle here like this, with this blue, with this pink box tool. So when price was here, maybe you knew that it wanted to come here with this rejection. Let's say this is the candle that closed. Let me just mark it with this blue bar here. That is the weekly candle that closed, and you had because this resistance was not there. If initially it was there, it would be easy, but now since it was there, you just had a narrative of selling it back up to here. So this weekly green candle has closed. How do you then build that narrative and get confirmation that you're going to sell it up to here? It is very simple. You're going to drop down to the daily. When you come to the daily, what do you see? You saw that price was going up, making higher highs, higher lows, higher high, and then it gave you two indecision candles at this level. Let me just refine it up to around here. Then price gave you two indecision candles at this level. This was the first green candle, and then you got a pin bar, this red candle here, a pin bar at that level. After getting a pin bar, remember, if price is going to continue going upside, you have to continue printing green candles or red candles, but big red candles, not small red candles. So it gave you a pin bar at this area. At that moment, that is when you dropped down. Let me mark that pin bar. That is when you drop down to the lower time frame, that is 4 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, and 1 hour, to look for confirmations of you selling. What would be the confirmation? The confirmation at that point can be a double top, then a break of the neckline of that double top on a retest, or retest on the supply zone, you sell, or a head and shoulder. For the head and shoulder, I don't wait for confirmation. The moment I see the right shoulder retesting at supply or at right shoulder completing, then I'll enter for sales. So now after you drop down to the 4 hour, so when you come to the 4 hour, what do you see, guys? On the 4 hour, it was very simple. You observe that price, this was the indecision candle. We had a higher high, higher low, higher high, then price dropped to come and make a lower low, breaking this previous higher low. After price breaking to make a lower low, this was now the right shoulder, a head, and now the left, this is left shoulder, head, and now the right shoulder was coming to form here. And also the price, the level at the price where the price was coming to form had had a supply zone here, this green candle here. Let me just mark it for you guys. It had a supply zone there. That is where this candle was coming to retest. So price fell down after making this. Let me go to the line chart. You see, this is a left shoulder, this one here. This is a head, and price made a lower low and came to make the right shoulder, and then started dropping on the right shoulder. Was also retesting on the supply zone. This thing happened on Bitcoin. You can check my previous videos on Bitcoin. It's something I gave, and Bitcoin dropped very, very well. So when you immediately saw price making the right shoulder with his huge rejection, you entered from there. Put your stop losses above here, and then price dropped. All people who trade demand and supply, you entered on this supply zone. Put your stop losses above here, same area, and then price dropped up to here. How many pips did it drop? 260 pips to the downside. So you are risking around 60 pips to make 260. That is 1:4. Very good pip count to the downside. Simple, clear, to the point. So that was a head and shoulder that formed around here. And we also had this one here now. This was a very big left head and left shoulder, right head, right shoulder, and then price shot up at a place of support and resistance. I told you guys, these chart patterns only matter if they form at a place of support or resistance, especially daily support, weekly support. They do not matter if they form in the middle of nowhere. But if they form at a place of support or resistance, they matter a lot. If you missed this entry here, there was also another entry here. Drop, base, drop. Then we had a supply zone here. Price came, reacted into the zone very well, and dropped down here. So it is on you. Either way, you're getting that trade. So what do you have to learn about this? Just follow the concept. This can work for each and every pair, but what it requires is patience. You have to be patient and wait for that chart pattern to form, the inverted head and shoulder, or double top or double bottom, or inverted head and shoulder. You have to be patient. Just identify your zone and then tell yourself, like we told ourselves here, tell yourself, in order for me to be interested in this buy or sells, I have to see something like this here. Then give it time to manifest. If you do not give it time, you're going to enter into a premature trade and you're going to be burnt out. So identify your zone, see your confluences there, and then wait for price action to reveal to you it is cards. Like for example, if you identify this zone here, you waited for price action to print that head and shoulder in its entirety, then you entered from the supply zone and sold up to down here. So you took like 2-3 days waiting for this formation to form. After it formed, you sold. If it does not form, then that means the trade is not valid and the price is likely to continue going to the upside. So you just wait for it not to form, continue to break upside, wait for a retest, and then look for same pattern to proceed to the upside. I think that is clear. So the formation is the confirmation. If it is not forming, then it is not there. Trade only what you see. If you're not seeing it, there's no reason for trading it. We had a breakout here. Price came here, and look at the way it molded this head and shoulder. There is this shoot to the upside. There is a demand zone here, which price respected to the core. Price came back, sat into the zone, and then continued to the upside. So only patient people were able to capture this trade. If you're not patient, you're not going to capture it, because it took how long to form that head and shoulder? It took around 22 bars, that is 5 days, almost a week. Price was consolidating around this area. So if you're not patient for 5 days, there is no way you're going to capture that trade. And even after consolidating for 5 days and shooting up, it came back to retest into the zone before it could even make another higher high. So you have to be patient and make sure you wait for that confirmation to come. The good thing is that you know the confirmation. So as you're waiting at your support or resistance area, you know what needs to happen for you to enter. So you're not just going to enter the market randomly. If you know what you're waiting for, then you can wait with confidence. But if you don't know what you're waiting for, you're always going to be patient and enter premature trades. and always going to be button because you don't know what you're waiting, but I'm giving you the exact thing you need to know before you can enter the market. So subscribe to the channel and also click the link in the bio. You can join my Telegram group where I'm going to be teaching you this strategy for free soon. I think that is all. Don't forget to like the video if you learned something out of it. That is all for today. We shall meet in another video. So for next week, let's wait for GBP and see what it is going to do here. If we can wait for it to print that inverted head and shoulder here, guys, that will be a confirmation. Enter with everything you have and wait for it to come up to here. Okay, don't enter with everything you have. Just put what you can afford to lose. So that is all for today. Let's wait for another video. Bye.